Alright, so this is my Toxicroak EX Toxic deck. It's pretty simple, you know what I mean? It's my standard base Wailord EX style deck, right? But with some toxicity. And it's not too different from the other toxic deck, like the Sand/Toxic deck. Except this time we're using Toxicroak EX. Because it actually adds more poison damage on top of the poison damage you're already getting from, you know, Burbank City Gym and just poisoning your opponent. So you got Toxicroak, of course. Use a colorless energy, double colorless energy, which is all that's in this deck. Yield to Toxicroak, uses triple poison attack. Your opponent's active Pokemon is poison, and in between turns, that particular active Pokemon will get 3 more damage counters instead of its usual 1. So instead of getting 1 at the end of every turn, it'll get 3. Then you add on top of that Burbank City Gym's extra 2. That's 5 poison damage every end phase, right? So that's 50, 50, 50, and it'll just add up depending if that active Pokemon stays there. So you can do 50, 50, 50, you know what I mean? And that can add up. You can knock down a couple EXs with that. But just the ability to poison your opponent's Pokemon is good enough now, because, you know what I mean, it's a start. That with Burbank, it's already going to slowly wither down their attack. I mean their life, their HP. Part of the strategy of poisoning is not just to try to slowly knock out their Pokemon. And of course, with Toxicroak, you're trying to speed up the possibility of knocking them out. It's more of just the fear factor. It's the way I like using poison. I want my opponent to fear that their Pokemon will get knocked out, so then they'll have to use resources to, you know, try to mitigate that. For example, by retreating their Pokemon so they can, you know, get rid of the poison, you know, is something you want to force your opponent to do. You know, if they have a powerful EX, like let's say they have Mewtwo on, EX on the active spot, you want to start poisoning it and start getting your opponent afraid of it getting knocked out, that they'll probably switch out to save their Mewtwo, and that's, you know, which is great. Let's knock that out the way, so that way I don't have to contend with it, right? As an example. And as you can see, Toxicroak is weak to Psychic, so, you know, that has its importance. You want to keep that Mewtwo off the active spot. Of course, you have Lysander to help with that in case your opponent decides he doesn't want to do that. He wants to take the risk. Well, you're not going to give him that option. So your Lysander, his Mewtwo, and bring it, and something else will come out in its place that preferably you want to hurt in the first place. And again, your opponent's going to have to use the resources to trying to turn over your moves. And the fact that you can pretty much, you know, poison your opponent's Pokemons whenever they bring out an active one, you'll just poison it, you know, using Toxicroak's ability, or use Skuntank's ability while you have, you know, Burbank City Gym active, or you use Hypnotoxic Laser to poison their Pokemon, which is, you know, all great types of things. You want to take advantage of that, so that we can not only slowly weaken their Pokemons to points where they might fear for their Pokemon's life and switch it out, you could potentially knock them out as well, which is something you want to do more than just stall them out until they deck out. But either way, you want more than one strategy anyway. So either the Pokemon's get knocked out, or your opponent gets decked out. Either way, you'll win. Poison Structure is the only thing you really want to use from Skunk Tank, but he does have Smokescreen, which is not that bad. It deals 20 damage, and if the defending Pokemon tries to attack during your opponent's next turn, your opponent flips a coin. If it's tails, their attack does nothing. So this is a good way you can hit and not get hit back. As you can see, he's not weak to Psychic. He's weak to Fighting. So that's pretty useful, especially if you have to contend with Mewtwo EX. You can use Skunk Tank with, double colorless energy. Start hitting that Mewtwo. Plus the Mewtwo would be poisoned. Okay, remember that it will be poisoned because you have Skunk Tank's ability to poison, along with Burbank's City Gym, adding extra damage, and then you're dealing 20 damage with the potential of possibly not getting it back, which is obviously very awesome. We have Baneri, level 13 with draw power. It requires no energy to activate, which is good because that's the point. Because there's only 4 energies in this deck, and that's the double colorless energy. So this deck needs to be able to run without energy, but you want the energy because you want to be able to apply certain effects, like Toxicroak's triple poison ability. You might want to use Smokescreen. So you want to get a way to get your double colorless energy without using energy. So obviously Baneri with his draw power lets you do that. I would like a Pokeball that has a bench ability where you play the Pokemon on the bench and you can get the double colors, right? You can get any energy card from your deck or discard pile to your hand. But a lot of cards in this game, cater to basic energies. They don't cater to energies in general or special energies, which I wish they did, because that would be awesome. Make things more consistent, in my opinion. Of course, the Mighty Wailord EX 250 wall, so you can sit on that bad boy for a while until you build up your strategy. You could just have Wailord EX as your active Pokemon and just Skunk Tank, Hypnotoxic Laser, easy with Burbank, your opponent, and just slowly knock down their Pokemons. Doing that, you got Floatstone. Hypnotoxic Laser, of course. It's an item card. You play. Your opponent's active Pokemon is automatically poisoned. You flip a coin. If it says the active Pokemon is also asleep, so that's awesome because it'll reduce the chances of that Pokemon hitting back, especially if that Pokemon is like a Mewtwo EX or something like that. And your opponent's Pokemon will be poisoned. You add Toxicroak's ability to add 3 damage counters during the in between turns, along with 20 extra from Burbank, so that's 50 in between turns. Can have a really awesome effect. And if the Pokemon stays asleep and your opponent can't retreat, great for you. Floatstone, the Pokemon this is equipped to, has no retreat cost. You typically use this with Wailord because Wailord has a pretty high retreat cost, and you want to be able to swap him out for like a Toxicroak, maybe Skunk Tank to do the Smokescreen, or just get out Baneri and use Baneri's power up, draw up power to get your double colors, so you can start trying to go into your combos. But typically you use this on Wailord, so you can swap out from one Wailord to the next, so that way you have a nice 250 wall to protect you. And then once you can AZ the damage Wailord, so that you can just restart your defense, stuff like that. Then we have Pad. Lets you shuffle 2 support cards from your discard pile into your deck. This is so you can recycle your AZs, your Lysanders. Those are the ones you want to recycle with this the most, because this is what gives you the most field control. We got VS Seeker. VS Seeker obviously will let you get any of the supporters you might need. Pokemon Fan Club, Zero Sec, but typically you might want to, I like to get Skyla with this, because I play V-Seeker, get Skyla, use Skyla, and this will let me access any of my trainer cards. I could get my Hypnotoxic Laser, or I can get the Verbank City Gym, because it's a stadium card. Something that, V-Seeker can't get me. I use this search card to get me this search card, which lets me search all my other ones. I can use Skyla to search out another Skyla, you know what I mean? If I want to thin out the deck, I can do that. But typically, I will use it so I can search out anything, any combo piece, especially Hypnotoxic Laser. Moving on. Oh yeah, AZ. This will let you bounce a Pokemon you control to your hand. Discard all cards that are attached to it. This is a way you can recover a Pokemon that might be very weak. Let's say you have a Hypnotoxic Laser that's been hit pretty hard, and you want to take it off the active spot, or even in the bench if it was hit pretty hard and it's in the bench. You bounce it back to your hand because you don't want it to get knocked out. It's an EX. Your opponent's going to get 2 prize cards, right? You don't want to give them nothing. You don't want to give them a prize card or 2. So bounce it back to your hand, so that way you can avoid that. You can also have less Pokemons in your bench deliberately in case your opponent has a Lysander. They won't be able to swap out your Wailord for a Baneri and then knock out your Baneri and potentially win the game. You might want to bounce that Baneri back to your hand with AZ and make sure you have a backup Wailord, so in case they want to Lysander you just go from one EX Wailord to another EX Wailord. So it's almost like they did nothing, which is the whole point. It's all about decisions you make in the game. Moving on. That was AZ. Lysander, of course, lets you switch your opponent's. Lets you select one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch it with his active. So if you play Lysander, you get to choose which one of his bench Pokemons will become his active Pokemon, and then he'll just switch out his active with that bench Pokemon, which is awesome. Skyla, of course, lets you search out any trainer card, including another Skyla. Pokemon Fan Club lets you search out up to 2 basic Pokemons, and every Pokemon in here is basic, right? So you can search out any 2 that you need for combo purposes. You might want to grab a Wailord, a Toxicroak, and start off with that, or you can get a Baneri and a Wailord, or a Toxicroak and a Baneri, so that we can use Baneri's ability to get the double colorless, that we can attach it to Toxicroak, and then Toxicroak will be able to start doing his attack. Zero Sec, let you discard a Pokemon tool or special energy card that's attached to a Pokemon. So that's very useful to get rid of your opponent's double colorless energy or double dragon energy, or any special energy card. Also helps you get rid of any Poke tool in case your opponent has a Muscle Band, Silver Bangle, or their own Float Stone. This is useful for getting rid of that. Of course, your Stadium card, your Verbank City Gym, lets you put 2 more damage counters on a poison Pokemon during in between turns, and that also applies to your Pokemons, but more likely yours might not be poisoned. If so, you will switch them out anyway. And of course, the 4 double colorless energy, so that way you could use Toxicroak's ability and Stunkank's Smokescreen ability, but typically you won't need to. And that's the end of the deck profile.